Hey guys, it's been forever since I reviewed an episode of Firefly, and I apologize for that. I think if we weren't so close to the end of this series, I would just give up on trying to review this series once a week. Heck, maybe I should still give up on that idea, even though we don't have much more to go. I should mention before we get started that I am recovering from a cold or whacked out allergies or something like that, so please excuse the not great vocal quality of this video. And with that being said, let's go on to the review. Today I will be talking about the episode of Firefly called The Message. Before I get into my analysis, let me quickly sum up the plot in case you have not seen this episode, or if you have, but it's been a little while. Zoe and Mal's old war buddy Tracy has seemingly died and has had his body mailed to Mal and Zoe so that they can take him back to his parents on their home world. But he's not dead. He put himself into cryostasis to escape from the people who are trying to capture him. It turns out that he is smuggling human organs, and he reneged on the deal that he made to sell the organs for a higher price. So the people he betrayed are now trying to capture him by any means necessary. They catch up to Serenity, and it's a very tense moment where Tracy thinks that the crew is ready to turn him over, so he has them all at gunpoint, and Zoe and Jane shoot him. We find out that although we were under the impression that the guys chasing Tracy were cops, they are not operating within the confines of the law, and they decide that taking Tracy is not worth the effort. Tracy dies, and the crew takes him to his home world. Cue credits. So the first thing I feel like needs to be addressed is Tracy himself. I feel like this episode wants us to like him more than I actually do. I think part of it is this actor. He's been in 3/4 of Whedon's personal shows, and every time he shows his face, I feel like punching him. He has that smug, annoying look no matter what kind of character he's playing, and here is no exception. I wonder just how different this episode would have registered with me if there was a different actor playing this guy. We get scenes of Zoe and Mal trading funny stories of this guy, and they both seem to really love the guy as much as a body can without getting sexual with it. So the episode wants us to think that he's a close friend and that he's funny, but I'm still not able to read anything other than arrogant jackwagon. Maybe this is intentional, but it's still a problem for me. And then, adjacent to my problems with Tracy, we have the way Mal decides to handle their pursuers. Tracy just happens to overhear the crew members saying that they should invite the cops down into the ship. So this prompts him to go insane and try to blame them for his problems. What he doesn't hear is that they plan to ambush the cops with guns from every side when they come into the ship. This kind of misunderstanding is understandable if there was at least a reason for the characters coming up with a plan to keep things a secret from Tracy. There's really no character reason for Mal to want Tracy off the bridge, and there's no character reason for any of the characters on the bridge to not fill Tracy in when he pulls a gun. It would have been very easy, but they act like Tracy just needs to mind his own business and take what's coming to him. Surely, if Mal and Zoe like this guy so much, they could have spared 30 seconds to tell him their plan instead of shooting him. Beyond that, there's not a whole lot here to discuss. We do have a theme of loyalty with your friends who are close enough to be your family. It's nice to see just how much Mal and Zoe have changed over the years. This guy was once their brother, and now we see that they've got a new family, and they will kill this guy to protect their new family. A lesser creative team would have tried to do a subplot where Mal or Zoe has to struggle with deciding if they like their life with their new family or if they want to return to the life with their old family. Fortunately for all of us, we don't get that. We do get a quick scene of Tracy asking Mal and Zoe why they're traveling with the shepherd, but we don't need an entire running subplot where the main characters decide that they like their life with the crew of Serenity. We don't even need Mal or Zoe to respond to Tracy asking why they're hanging with Shepherd Book. We get that this is their new family, and we don't need it to be spoken to understand it. We do get a Kaylee-Simon subplot here, where Simon screws it up when he's talking all romantically to Kaylee, and so she's mad at him for the rest of the episode. I feel like this is done only so that we can tease Kaylee getting with the bad boy Tracy, and while I was just done praising the subtlety of this episode a few seconds ago, this is most definitely not subtle. Part of my problem here is that we haven't really been spending much time with the Simon Kaylee thing at all. We've had some slow development of the Malnara, and we even had some Zoe Wash screen time, but other than Kaylee very obviously having a crush on Simon in a pilot episode, this has basically been the only time where we clearly see a romantic build-up here. And yes, we've seen them together on screen plenty of times, but I feel like those scenes could just as easily be construed as friendship building and not romance building. So it feels a tad sloppy that suddenly we're getting these two starting to act kissy-kissy with each other just so that Kaylee can swoon over Tracy later in the episode. And then this doesn't even get properly resolved. Kaylee is in a tizzy with Simon, and then at the end, she holds his hand and forgives him. I know I was praising this show for subtlety earlier, but maybe we could have had a little bit of a spoken reconciliation between these two. I would have liked that anyway. Overall, I didn't much care for this episode. It's not one that I pop into the DVD player to watch very often. Part of this is because it's toward the end of the series, and every time I tell myself that I'm going to watch through the whole series, I usually get about halfway in before something distracts me. So I typically miss the episodes that I've been reviewing lately. But also, this just isn't one of the better episodes of the series. I'm not saying that this is one of the worst things ever, but out of the rest of the show, this is definitely one of the weaker episodes, I think. So that's it, guys. I hope you found this review helpful and enjoyable, and if you did, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. While I will not make any promises, I will try to be back next week for another review of an episode of Firefly. But we all know how that's been turning out every time I say that, so we'll just wait and see what happens. Be sure to pop back in tomorrow for an entirely different kind of review. And until then, I'll see you guys later. Have a great day.